You are literally the most impossible person ever to be convinced by evidence. No matter how much evidence we provide, no matter in what way we show it, no matter how many times we adjust it, you will always reject it, always deny it, always keep saying there are flaws, it sucks, something must be wrong, always, because it simply doesn't come out your way.
And then you have 4 of them with 200 momentum. So you double your momentum for free. That can't happen. So in doing the experiment, this Spar guy, he's bitching about everything. He doesn't really want to do clinical experiments. He wants to do shitty experiments. So he wants to complain every time somebody says something like, well, you have to figure out what the center of mass is, because it's the center of mass that rises to a point. So you have to either measure from the bottom of the ball to the ground and then measure bottoms, or you have to measure from the center and then measure all centers. But you have to measure it that way.
So here we go again. You keep nagging about the center of masses. How many goddamn times do I have to show you? These intersection points, these points, okay, this is the center of mass. All right, look, I'm pressing the ball against the paper. Look, doesn't that look like the center of the ball that is aligned with this goddamn intersection point? This is the center of mass. Oh yeah, but it's hanging so far away from the paper. Look, this is how far away the balls are hanging from the paper. Like one finger. And the same for the big ball. This is the center of mass, this intersection point here, where my thumb is. I'm pressing the ball against it. Doesn't that look like the center of mass? Like the center of the ball. If I were able to like hammer a nail right through the ball, I assure you it would be close to this point. It would be aligned with this point. Okay? Fuck. And in the previous video I have already shown you. This intersection point is the center of mass. Okay, look, I'm putting the ball in front of it. See? How is that not the center of mass? If I could hammer a nail through the center of this ball, it would pretty much align with this point here. And the same for the half velocity mark. This is the intersection point. Here is supposed to be the center of mass. Come on, focus. There we go. I'm measuring the center of masses. Fuck's sake. And the same for the full velocity. This point, that's where we want the center of mass to be. And the same for the other side. Oh, I still put the stick up. Hold on. Okay, so look, this point, that's where we want to have the center of mass. Look, doesn't that look like the center of the ball that is right in front of it? If you were able to nail a hammer through the ball, it would penetrate this hole at this point. You say I'm not doing this clinically. I'm doing my utter best to position it at the very center of the ball. Jesus Christ, dude.
And then he's having all kinds of trouble getting these things to, stay in alignment. Okay. And the other problem is this parallax thing. See, you put a piece of paper behind here with a bunch of crap written on it. The point is the paper is quite a distance from the objects, right? So in his, maybe 3 inches of distance, between the piece of paper and the actual balls that you're seeing. So when you see them reach a point, well, because of parallax, they don't really reach that point because the two things are not in the same frame of reference, essentially.
Then you keep nagging about the parallax problem. I've showed you, I've centered the GoPro camera with the half velocity mark. Once again, this is the half velocity mark. Here is the lens of the camera. Okay, there we go. So the half velocity mark is in the center of the screen. There's only distortions at the sides of the screen. In the center, there is no distortion. Now, let me show you. Let me turn it upside down. Let me turn it this side. Here we have the half velocity mark. Okay? It's this far away from the... I'm going to press it against it. Now let's look at the GoPro camera. What the GoPro camera is seeing. It's exactly the same as here. there is no distortion, there is no goddamn parallax problem. Even when I pull it a little bit over here, all right, like this, I'm holding it still. Same view, same view, same view. Now, according to you, well, it didn't go this far. It probably only go this far. Somewhere like this. It didn't reach the half velocity mark, but it created the illusion because of parallax. It created the illusion that it went over here, but actually it only went over here probably. So let's take a look. I'm holding it over here. As you can see, it clearly, even for the GoPro camera, what the GoPro camera is seeing is not the half velocity mark. So it's not that when it only went over here, that it created the illusion that it actually went over here. Because when I'm holding it over here, you can see that the GoPro camera is not seeing that it is not at the half velocity mark. It actually has to go over here to the actual half velocity mark. That's where it actually has to go. And that's what the GoPro camera is seeing when it is actually at the half velocity mark. And this is what actually happened in the goddamn experiment. And even 2 videos back, I have showed you from above. I have centered the GoPro camera at the top. So I placed these 2 sticks here at the half velocity mark and at the quarter velocity mark. And then I showed you from above. And once again, just to get rid of the parallax problem, and once again, it actually went to the half velocity mark. I'm going to do it again one last time, and then I'm absolutely done with you.
But the fact is, you can do some things to mitigate against the possible errors, and he just doesn't. He doesn't want to hear anything about that. He thinks he's proven it, and whatever. I'm just saying whatever to that crap. All right, the experiments suck. If I did experiments of the same quality of his experiments and claimed I had now established the truth, they would be all over me saying what a garbage experiment and blah blah. You know, and so it's just such hypocrisy.
Yeah, so I'm going to record it from above. You can still see the half velocity mark, the 3 centimeters mark here. This is still the fill velocity. I'm going to let it drop from here. And this is the half velocity mark. So now you really should not be able to argue about the parallax problem, but whatever. You don't accept anything. Because yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's over here, you can see if it bounces back in this area, in this range, it clearly is in the range within the half velocity. Here's the quarter velocity. So if it reflects back towards here or towards here, that should be clearly visible. Here we go. I put the sticks back up again. This is the GoPro camera, and it's centered at the stick at the half velocity mark. So again, half velocity, quarter velocity, and the camera, you can see over here, the lens of the camera, all right, it's right above the stick. Completely focused, and the stick is perfectly centered in the middle of the screen. So the center of the ball should bounce back at the middle of the stick. So once again, let me record myself while doing it. Turn on the GoPro. Gotta hold on. Wait for it. There it goes. If that isn't clear, it didn't even went perfectly straight. It didn't even went perfectly straight. And it still kind of went to the center of the stick. So once again, there we go. So once again, this is just, I mean, come on, dude. You're just hopeless and desperate. Now the camera is on top of the half velocity mark on the other side, so for the big ball, this is a 3 centimeter height mark, so the ball should bounce back to the center of the stick. Ta-da! Here we go again. It went to the center of the stick. We got the camera above or on top of the quarter velocity stick mark. I'm going to drop it again from the full velocity just to show you that it will go beyond the stick. It will not stop at the center of the stick, but it will go beyond it. Okay. Right. Oh. Ta-da! It went beyond it. No big surprise. Once again, the camera is on top of the quarter velocity mark. Okay, I'm going to drop it from 6 centimeters and it will bounce back to the quarter velocity. Hold on. There we go. Ta-da. Final words. You are just utterly hopeless and desperate. I wonder how it feels to be proven wrong time and time again. But you have chosen to create this so-called indestructible model of conservation momentum. And now you have to deny and reject every single experiment that proves you wrong. You have to. You have chosen to. Yet here I am, proving you wrong once again. I've been doing all these adjustments. I've been showing you from every possible angle this experiment. And each single time, it proves you wrong. And the only thing you do is make desperate attempts to say that the experiment sucks. Because, oh yeah, it's the strings. Oh yeah, it's the center of masses. They're not aligned. It's, oh yeah, it's parallax problem, this and that. I've shown you everything. I have changed everything. And it didn't make any difference. You are fundamentally wrong, will you now finally, for the love of God, get this through your insanely thick skull that you are just wrong. You are just a childless, pathetic human being. If you can't concede that you're wrong. Fuck you.